Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we were reading the page number 239 and we continue from the middle of the page, one or many. Remember, we are discussing on this chapter about Maya, delusion, or ignorance, or Prakriti, or Sakti, different names. So up to now, we understood what is Maya. Now it talks about the Maya as well as the manifestation of cosmos and then individual. So this is getting more technical, and if there is any question, please raise, and we can have a debate on it or a discussion on it. Try to understand. It is a bit challenging to understand, I agree, but if we contemplate, probably we get it. So we start with this middle of the page 239. One or many. Is ignorance one or many? This is another puzzle for the Advaitins. Some say there is only one, but others say there are many. But Sankara says this Maya is something inexplicable, impossible to comprehend. It is one. The moment we wish to know her, she's gone. So we understand, we know that the Maya is also known by the Advaitins as ignorance. So the question is, ignorance one or many? Now, obviously, our instant response could be that ignorance can be many, because each one of us, we are still ignorant about the Brahman, or we have not realized it. So we are ignorant, and therefore we are in the spell of this Maya or Prakriti or delusion. So the answer for this could be that Maya, the ignorance is many, but Samkara says ultimately it is one, and it is so difficult to explain or to comprehend. It's almost impossible. Moment we try to contemplate, try to grasp the spread and the quality of Maya, it is out of our comprehension. Are jivas or living being one or many? So there is a second point here raised, that if Maya is known as ignorant, ignorant is one or many. That's question one. Question two, that we, all of us, all living beings are jivas. Are the jivas many or one? So that's the second question. Are jivas or living being one or many? This is yet another puzzle. The Vedantians are divided in this aspect. Drasti, srasti. This is a Sanskrit word. Drasti, srasti. Now, this is a phenomenon which is a very debatable issue that people believe that if there is a seer, there is a sin. And there are other people who say that that sin already exists. It's the seer who are watching it. So drashti, srashti, that's a school of thought. They believe, which says that the creation takes place when one sees it. Everything that we can perceive happens because we are the perceiver. If there is no perceiver, there is nothing to perceive. There is no manifestation. That is the one school of thought, is when one sees it. There is one soul, and with liberation, every problem under the sun is solved. So that's one, Drishti Srishti. Now the second one, the other school, Srishti Drishti school, says that there are many souls and they are created and they should strive for liberation. In liberation, there is only one. Generally, Advaitiyans say that Jiva for the enlightened is only one. For the enlightened, soul never sees duality. For the ignorant, Jiva are countless. So here is the answer for both questions. As long as you are ignorant or ignorant about what am I, who am I, what is the absolute truth, and we fall into the category of being ignorant. We may have knowledge, we may have some experience, but we are not realized. We have not realized yet, which is known as awakening, liberation, self-realization. We only talk about it, which is only using words and play of our mind, which is based on our satsangs and readings and shravana and manana, but we have not realized it. So for us, the jiva are many. Each one of us are individual jiva. And as long as we remain individual jiva, we are in ignorance, which means we are in this known as Maya, the power of the Maya, which veils the reality and projects this, what we can perceive. But moment the one who has gained the knowledge, experienced it, and realized it, there are two things. One, to have a jnana or knowledge, higher knowledge, a supreme knowledge. The second is to experience that knowledge. Now, that experience could be for a while, but when you realize that you are the Atman, you are the Brahman, you are the consciousness, then there are no jivas. There is only Brahman, and it's only one. So there is no plurality, there is no duality, there are no others. So that is what here the Sankara is trying to explain, that as long as we are in ignorance, there are many jivas, but the one who has transcended that ignorance, there is no other. It's only one consciousness, one Atman, one Brahman. And everything that we perceive is the reflection or superimposition of that Brahman. Now, we have completed up to now what is Maya. Now it is trying to talk about the process of creation, the cosmic creation. Remember, it starts with the cosmic creation at a subtle level. Now, the subtle level is something that we cannot perceive, we cannot experience, we cannot have any description. It can only be known through the authentic source as the ancient literature that we possess, Vedas, Upanishads, and many other literature. That's the source of our knowledge about creation of cosmic at subtle level. The fundamental point to be noted is that Maya or ignorance has two qualities. It covers and projects. If it had just covered the truth, perhaps the problems would have been less. But the projects too. What does the Maya project? It projects the universe. The material cause of the universe, of course, is Brahman itself. But Maya projects it. So there are always two causes. One is called material cause, and the second is the efficient cause. So the material cause of this manifestation of the cosmos is Brahman, is that Atman, that consciousness, that energy alone. But the efficient cause of this is what is known as Maya, Prakriti, or Sakti. And that is nothing apart from Brahman. It is part and the quality of Brahman known as Maya, which manifests the cosmos. So now try to understand the following paras are a bit more technical. Brahman plus Maya is equal to Ishvara. Remember, these are the terminology used in Vedas and Upanishads. And this is the interpretation based on the theory of the school of Advaita Vedanta. Now, Brahman, which is the unmanifested original source or original supreme energy, plus Maya, which is its own quality, its own existence, is equal to Ishvara. In other words, Ishvara is nothing other than Brahman, but associated with Prakriti or Maya. The first product of Ishvara is space. So remember, we are discussing the cosmic manifestation at subtle level. So what was the first that was existing? Space. And therefore it says the product of Ishvara is space or akasa or sound. Now remember this, every element is also known with its quality or its guna. So the space has a quality of sound, which is known as a sabda. And that's why it said Nada Brahma was the only existence. Nada is also another word of sabda or sound. Nada is sound, and the sound is from space, or nada is space. And space is the primordial element of this manifestation. So the first product of Ishvara is space or sound. For the quality of space is sound. Quality of space is sound. Now, we are not going in detail as how the sound is the quality of space, but there is a wide literature and explanation of all that, which is another subject matter. But for now, please remember the sound is also known as space. Space brings about sound. From the space comes air, vayu. And Vayu is associated with the touch, sparsh, tanmatra. Now, tanmatra, if you remember the term, tanmatra is that alone in its sattva-guna, in the purest form, purest subtle form are these elements. Space, and then space is equal to nada or sound. Then comes air or vayu, which is equivalent to the touch or sparsh. From the air comes the fire. And fire is the form. It's the form of a shape or name. It's a rupa. So nama rupa is based on fire element. And from the fire comes the water, apa. And that is associated with the taste, or rasa. From water comes the earth, and earth is equal to smell, gandha. So you see the Vedantic terminology for the cosmic creation in its purest form and subtle form is Ishvara, space, air, fire, water, earth. These are the 5 tanmatras, or 5 subtle elements. In the Brahma Sutra, there is an interesting discussion about whether or not space was created. Can one create the space? See, these are the interesting questions. Remember the previous page, we had questions. Is ignorance one or many? Or is jiva one or many? Third question here we talk about is the space. Can the space be created? Everything else can be created in space, but can space itself be created? Hence, the opponent of this theory say, space is not created. Since this is not heard of it at all, for this, the Vedantians reply, such mention is there in Upanishad. Which Upanishad? Taittiriya Upanishad. It is said that space was born from the Atman. This is the statement in Taittiriya Upanishad, which proves that the space was created by Atman or Brahman or Ishvara. So there are 2 schools of thoughts. One believes that space cannot be created because to create something, you need a position, you need a space. Now, where is that space to create another space? So they believe the space was not created. The other theory says that in Upanishad, it is mentioned that the space is from Atman or created by Brahman or Atman. And remember, Upanishads are taken as the authentic source of our wisdom, knowledge. All the things created or superimposed should come from Brahman. For the Vedas say that when Brahman is known, all else is known. So Brahman is the source of space. From space comes all other 4 fundamental elements. So we, at this point of time, following the theory of Advaita Vedanta, and therefore we believe that this space is from Brahman or Atman. Using the word created, we can avoid, but we could say the source of space is Brahman. Now, there is no age, you remember? It's eternal. So we cannot say, when was this created? It is beyond our explanation, beyond our ability to understand when was this created or when was this manifested. There is no beginning. There is no perceivable beginning. There is no perceivable end, which means it's eternal. So the question, when was it manifested, is a wrong question. One can ask how and why, but when is the wrong question, because it's eternal. There is no perceivable beginning. But according to Tattvabodha Upanishad, the space, the source of the space is Brahman or the Atman. So we leave it at that. Now it talks about these 5 purest form, Sattva Guna, purest form, 5 subtle elements. These 5 elements, however, are the fundamental elements. They are not seen or experienced. They are in their causal side. So you see the word used is causal state. Because of these tanmatras, because of this subtle form of 5 elements in purest form, brings about the gross form of these elements, Mahabhuta, Pancha Mahabhuta, as we know. Now, how does that happen? We have read about it, we call it Panchikarna, which is a process by itself that from the subtle form converted into gross form through the mutation and combination of 5 elements. And that is how what is known as the 5 elements, what we know as a gross form of 5 elements, are from these subtle elements. So the subtle elements is the cause. These fundamental elements go to form the individual of Vyakti, subtle bodies, as we have seen before. Like we have understood the formation of the cosmic subtle body, similarly, the formation of individual subtle body is from the same 5 subtle elements. So the diagram shows us the Brahman, the supreme intelligence, is Maya, made of 3 qualities, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, which is also known as Maya, is equal to Ishvara. Is equal to, now Ishvara again has different names in different literature. Ishvara is also known as the Mahat or supreme intelligence, the cosmic intelligence. So Brahman, the ultimate material cause of manifestation, Maya, which is in 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, is equal to Ishvara. And that Ishvara is the is the beginning. The product, first product of Ishvara is space, and then comes other elements. The creation of cosmic or collective causal body. Ishvara is known as the collective intelligence or causal body. The 5 subtle elements, we have 19 constituents of the individual subtle body. Now it is trying to explain the formation of individual subtle body. So it have the 19 constituents. What are these 19? Mind, intellect, memory, ego, 5 sense of knowledge, 5 sense of action, and 5 different pranas, which makes 19 elements. So these are mind, memory, ego, 5 sense organs, 5 organs of action, and 5 life forces. The collective form, samasti. Now, this is the terminology used in the Upanishads. The collective form known as samasti. For example, Ishvara is equal to samasti because it's a collective intelligence, and individual subtle body is known as a vyasti. So vyasti to samasti. That's the equation here. The collective form, samasti, of all the individual subtle bodies put together is called the cosmic subtle body or Hiranyagarbha. You see, these are the terminology, so please let us not get confused. Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, Mahat, collective causal body. These are the different ways to explain different terminology used to explain the causal, cosmic causal body. Now, we read again. The collective form of all the individual subtle bodies put together is called cosmic subtle body or Hiranyagarbha. We should be careful to not hear that the individual is only a minuscule part of the cosmic whole. Since Hiranyagarbha is the collection of subtle bodies and has collective intelligence, he is called cosmic intelligence or cosmic Mahat. So Hiranyagarbha is subtle cosmic universe and the source of the gross physical universe. You understand? Everything comes from this, according to this theory. Now, when we say come from this, means it's not created. It is the reflection. The Ishvara, Mahat, collective causal body, or Hiranyagarbha, all these are the terminology used indicating the causal body at cosmic level in subtle form. And from there comes the grossification of 5 elements at cosmic level and at individual level. So the diagram shows here cosmic causal body is equal to Brahman plus Avidya or Maya is equal to Ishvara, known as a cosmic causal body or supreme intelligence. From pure sattva of Maya, sattva guna of Maya, comes 5 subtle elements: space or sound, air, touch, fire, sight, water, taste, earth, smell. Now this is cosmic subtle body known as Hiranyagarbha. Swami Vivekananda says the body is the form and the mind or the antakarna is the name. So use the word antakarna. Antakarna is the combination of those 4: mind, intellect, memory, and ego. These 4 together is antakarna. So antakarna is the name, and sound symbol are universally associated with the nama or name in all beings having the power of speech. In the individual man, thought waves rising in the limited mahat or chitta, mind stuff, must manifest themselves first as words and then as the more concentrate forms. In the universe, Brahma or Hiranyagarbha or the cosmic Mahat first manifest himself as name and then form as this universe. Very profound explanation by Swamiji. What is the beginning? Beginning is a thought at the cosmic level. Ishvara or Brahma or Brahman originally, as I discussed earlier, according to this theory, that alone was existing. It is existing. Now, from that alone, wanted to experience itself. In order to experience itself, it had to have other projection. I, as the consciousness, cannot know consciousness unless I have a name, shape, and form, such as body, mind, intellect. Only through that I would know or gain the knowledge and wisdom to go into the source of this body, mind, intellect, or entire existence. So without that, the cosmos, the consciousness per se itself cannot have its own experience. So the mind or the thought was the source of original source of the creation or manifestation. And that is name, according to this theory. So the first, it was a name or a mind and thought. And from there came the shape or a form of body, or a subtle body, subtle cosmic body. And from subtle cosmic body came the subtle individual body. So this Swamiji, this paragraph I'm reading again. Swami Vivekananda says the body is the form and the mind or antakarna is the name. Sound symbols are universally associated with name in all beings having power of speech. In the individual man, the thought waves rising in the limited chitta or mind must manifest themselves first as words and then as the more concentrate form. In the universe, Brahma or Hiranyagarbha or cosmic Mahat first manifested himself as name or mind or thought, and then as a form. And that is universe. So in other words, all that we can see, perceive is nothing but that Brahman. Swami Vivekananda further makes the collective idea clear here. The aggregate of many individuals is called samasti. Aggregate of many individuals is called samasti, and each individual is called vyasti. You and I, each is vyasti. Society is samasti. You, I, an animal, bird, worm, insect, tree, creeper, earth, planet, star, each is vyasti, while this universe is samasti, which is called Virat, Hiranyagarbha, Ishvara. In Vedanta and Brahma, Vishnu, Devi, etc. is Puranas. So in Veda or Upanishad, they are known, sorry, they are known as Brahman, but in different literatures of Puranas, they are also addressed as Devis or divine or God. It's just that different terminology used. Nirguna Swarupa and Saguna Swarupa. Brahman, Nirguna, Ishvara, the Devis and Vishnus and Shivas are Saguna Swarupa or the same energy. Whether or not Vyasti has individual freedom, and if it has, what should be its measure? Whether or not Vyasti should completely sacrifice its own will, its own happiness for samasti, are the perennial problems before every society. So this is the philosophical subject for contemplation, that as do we have a free will, or everything is a destiny? In other words, is there anything that Vyasti, individual, has the liberty, has the ability to, or freedom to choose the happiness, or it is samasti, or collective supreme intelligence of destiny, which is the source of every thought, every let's say our explanation, our manifestation at our level, individual level. So this is a very complex subject, different point of view. We do have free will in Vyavarika Jagat, or in the transactional world for our existence. We do have free will, but by and large, everything is based on the destiny of fate or karmic account. So right now we are not going into details of that subject because it's other subject altogether. But Swamiji here explains about this terminology, what is Vyasti and Samasti. It's according to him, everything is Vyasti, while this universe is Samasti, which is called Virat or Hiranyagarbha or Ishvara. In Vedanta, and in it is known as Brahma, but Vishnu, Devi, etc. are known in the Puranas. Whether or not Vyasti has individual freedom, and if it has, what should be its measure? Whether or not Vyasti should completely sacrifice its own will, which means there is no free will, or its own happiness for Samasti. Leave it to Samasti. Are the perennial problems before every society. So it's ongoing debate. Manifestation or creation? Terminology, what should be the right word to use? Is it creation or manifestation? One of the important problems of modern times is that if philosophy does not go with the latest developments of science, it is mythology only. Does the Vedantic idea of cosmology stand the test of times? Swamiji Vivekananda says, through multiplicity and in duality, ultimate unity is reached. Religion can go no further. This is the goal of all science. All science is bound to come to this conclusion in the long run. Manifestation and not creation is the word of science today. And the Hindu is only glad that what he has been cherishing in his bosom for ages is going to be taught in more forcible language and with further light from the latest conclusions of science. So according to Sanatana Dharma, it is manifestation, and slowly but surely the science is coming to conclusion and acceptance to use manifestation as the right explanation rather than creation, according to Swamiji. From what latest development in the astrophysics say the idea of the so-called Big Bang that happened 10 billion years ago is the best possible theory. The steady state theory and others have been questioned by the expansion of the universe. Yet science has to go a long way from observation to experimentation and further still. We don't have to, this is not our Vedantic subject, but according to this, science believes the creation happened because of the Big Bang, which is supposed to have happened 10 billion years ago. And universe is continuously expanding. And it is ongoing process of expansion. And therefore, the science yet to come to conclusion about the explanation about the creation or manifestation. I would stop here. We will continue with chapter 34 next time, creation of individual subtle body. So now it's the chance to understand whether all that we are reading has any implication, has any meaning in our lifestyle. Remember, we are not reading to spend 1 hour together. We are reading to realize there's something more to this, what we can see, what we can understand, what we can perceive. So ask yourself individually, simple question, what we have just now read, or up to now what we have read. What is Maya? What is Atman? What am I? What is it that brings the suffering? And what is it that can stop suffering? Just simple questions. Put it down on a piece of paper or on your book and think about it, contemplate. What is Maya? That is the latest that we are reading. So, as I said, do not be in a hurry to find answer. But just sure of question. Or just proving the intellectual. How does it help or work on our daily life? For example, today, when you're starting a day, how does this knowledge, this reading, this discussion, how does it help? Does it help at all? And if it does help, how? These are the questions to ask ourselves. You can only raise this question to yourself if you are conscious about it or if you remain in awareness. But if you are in so-called rat race, we are too busy to follow our daily chore and fulfilling our desires, entertaining our attachments. And this subjects, this knowledge is not given due importance. That's our fact of our life. That's why we are ignorant. And there is no time or space for this kind of knowledge. It can happen now or anytime. It has to happen. It will happen in every individual case. Whoever it is, wherever it is, whatever it is, this will happen. There is no escape. It's just a matter of opening our insight. I had a session yesterday with a group, where I was asked that if the goal is to do the realization, self-realization or liberation or awakening, and if we say that we are the consciousness, we are the pure consciousness and Atma, then who is seeking liberation? If we are that pure consciousness, that Atman, that Brahman, is the Brahman seeking it? No. Then who is seeking? On one hand, we say we are the Brahman, we are the consciousness. On the other hand, we say we are seeking the liberation. Yeah? So that was the debate yesterday. The reason why I'm mentioning it is that try to find some time or some companion with whom you can engage for a little while to raise these questions, to have this debate. That opens up the door to pursue further. Any comments?
Acharya, this debate on manifestation or creation, and Swami Vivekananda said it's definitely manifestation. So manifestation means somebody must have thought of it, created it. Manifestation can only happen after a thought. It doesn't happen on its own.
You're right. So according to the Advaita Vedanta non-duality, their belief is the theory is, again, it's not my understanding, it's not my knowledge or experience. I take the source is these Upanishads or this interpretation by non-dualism, the Advaita Vedanta. For they use the word Brahman. I would call it a supreme energy, the unmanifested energy. That is the source. Okay. Now, how did that happen? There is no answer for it. It's a divine mystery. But according to them, that alone was existing. Let's use our normal term of God. God alone existed. Okay. Now, when we say God, unfortunately, mind will assume different name, shape, and forms. Yeah. I'm not talking about name, shape, form. God as a purest form, energy. So God existed. Now, God had a thought, had a desire, assume, to experience itself, to experience the power of the energy, that cosmic energy. So there was, in a very light words, it was explained by somebody that God alone was getting bored and wanted to entertain itself. How does it entertain itself? Because there was nothing else to. There was nothing else. The only thing was God. So in order to entertain itself, it had to project something. And that is the beginning. So as you rightly said, that was the thought, that was a desire, which is known as a divine desire or divine thought, to bring about the manifestation in order to experience itself. In other words, the self-experiencing the self through the self. Self-experiencing self through the experience, through the self.
Through the self.
So that's why it is called Triguna. Seen, seeing, seer.
Seer.
So, who is the seer? Brahman. Now, that's the common thinking, that seer is Brahman. Immediately when we question what is the seen, what we can see. Yeah, different objects, different existence.
Which also is Brahman.
And the seeing is the process, Yeah, my eyes is the seer. Let's talk about very normal terminology. My eye is the seer. Different faces that I see on the screen are the seen. And what I'm doing right now is the process of seeing. That's normal understanding. Vedantic understanding is the seer is not the eye. Eye is only a tool. Brain, which is, but again, brain is also not the ultimate. Then we say it's prana, breathing. Then prana is also not there. It's the consciousness. Now, consciousness, other words, known as a jivatma, for example, is also not there because jiv has this combination of the antakarna, which we just spoke about, mind, intellect, memory, ego. Drop those four elements away, what remains is the pure Atman, pure consciousness. So that becomes your seer. Without that, you are not living being. You are not existing without that pure consciousness. So the seer is that consciousness. Okay. Seen, different objects that those what we see, different existence, different objects are matter or material which cannot exist without me seeing it, which means because I have the eyes and brain and the body and ultimately consciousness, everything exists. It is like I am sitting here. What happens around your house, I do not see. So for me, that does not exist.
Right.
What exists for me is what I can perceive.
Perceive.
What I perceive is what my consciousness allows me to perceive. So the seer is consciousness. Seen is also the consciousness. But the process of seeing happens in this space, in this existence, which is nothing but consciousness. So seer, seen, and seeing, all three is nothing but consciousness.
That's quite true.
So what does it mean? Consciousness alone exists.
Yes, Acharya.
One of the talk that I wanted to show in our forthcoming retreat is the scientific experiment done on this subject. It's so fascinating to realize that 21 different scientists of different countries put together probably 6-7 years to do study and realize that everything exists because of somebody seeing it. It's called split experiment. That when you are seeing, it forms a waves. But when you are not seeing it, it shoots out like a shoots like a points. So there is an experiment done by them called experiment, and there is atoms are fired. It goes through the split. When it goes through the split, it forms the waves in the water. So they have put the camera to record it. When camera is recording it, it forms the waves. When you shut the camera, there are no waves. It goes same as the shooting the fire, the atoms. So it forms the bars. And they have They cannot realize that how is this possible? Same process, two different results. So that's a wonderful show of split video, split experiment. And that based on the same understanding, unless there is a seer, nothing exists, nothing is seen. There is no process of seeing. And who is the seer? That consciousness, that energy, that Atman, different names. Om. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya loka samasta sukhino bhavantu loka samasta sukhino bhavantu samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, God, for giving us air to breathe. Thank you, God, for giving us water to drink. Thank you, God, for giving us sun for energy. Thank you, God, for giving us food to eat. Thank you, God, for giving us good health and happiness. Thank you, God, for giving us positivity. Thank you, God, for giving us all that we need. Thank you, God, for your love, your protection, your guidance, your blessings. Thank you, God, for the existence. Thank you for giving me a chance to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Acharya.
Acharya. Thank you, Acharya.
Thank you very much, everyone.